when service personnel screw the pooch. Here's a story for you. I served from 2009 to 2016 in the U.S. Navy. Originally slated as a nuclear machinist's mate. Location names will be used except for private businesses and people who work at the same. But if you're familiar with the area, you should know what's going on. One weekend in November '09, I was wrapping up my A school, the first school that we had to go through to get qualified as Navy nuclear operators. My classmates and I didn't feel like spending the whole weekend on base studying. So we went off base to the local mall and shopping center. I was perusing the local tabletop game store, the Dragon's Roost, first name change, and I was intrigued by all the Warhammer 40,000 models on display. Most of it was artfully painted and placed on display for people to see what can be done with a hobby. I came across one diorama with a bunch of Space Marines duking it out with a squad of Tyranids. All the Marines had names associated with them, on flags flying for each, with people related to the store on the Space Marine side. U.S. Navy, U.S. Army, or good customer, insert name here. The Space Marines I could recognize as Brother Steve, the store owner, name changed, and Brother Shannon, his wife, name also changed. However, my eye was caught by one Space Marine, bolter pistol a foot away by scale from his outstretched hand, lying on the ground with a clean hole throughout his chest. His flag read Brother Shoplifter. There had to be a story behind this. I asked Steve about it, and with it being a slow Saturday, lucky us, he launched into his tale. OP's note, I'll be shifting to his perspective, as Steve told me the story. Back in the mid-90s, we were having a bumper day. I was ringing up customers non-stop. We had a bunch of off-duty sailors, airmen, and Marines playing tabletop games on the side room, and my wife was generally wandering to make sure everyone was satisfied. Given the day's chaos, I don't see Shannon stop in the breezeway between the rooms, putting her hands on her hips. One of the Marines did. Marine asked, "What's going on, Shannon?" Quote, she had started glaring at one kid, a fresh out-of-boot airman, with a sweatshirt on, going up and down the comic book aisles grabbing stuff and not putting everything back. She simply responded, "I think that man is stealing." All of the players got up from that table and went to cover the doors. Two flanked Shannon, one to the back, two to the front, and one to either side of the aisle the booty was in. The two covering the aisle were both Marines built like a brick outhouse. They approach the kid and ask what he has under his sweater. The kid responds, "Nothing, nothing, huh?" An open palm punch flies out and hits the kid square in the chest. His arms flying out to either side of him to maintain balance, and comics drop out of the front of his sweatshirt all over the floor. "Nothing, huh?" Then loudly, "That looks like about $500 worth of stolen goods." "Hey, Steve, isn't that grand larceny?" I started reeling a bit, but come to my senses and say, "Yeah, it is." Quote. Then the Marines both grab the kid and start hauling him out a front door towards one of the sailors' Camaros to shove him into the back and take him back to base. I figure they had it well in hand. Meanwhile, a shipyard bubba with his son in tow comes in and asks me what's going on. I told him it was a shoplifter, and the serviceman had it under control. "Shouldn't you call the cops?" he asks. "Huh? Yeah, I should." I step out front and call out to the group, "Hey, guys, we have a witness." Quote, the Marines, who were having difficulty shoving the airman into the non-existent backseat of this Camaro, pause and look at each other and the sailor, then haul the kid back inside and plop him down between a couple of the display cases and stare the kid down, daring him to make a move while I call Charleston police. Within 10 minutes, a cop black as night and roughly 7 feet tall arrives to take charge. He's so tall, he has to duck under the door frame to get in. He then asks me if I was the owner or the manager of the establishment. I responded, I am the owner. The cop takes one look at the kid, now white as a sheet, and asks me, what do you want me to do to him? Not with, to. Charleston police will bend over backwards to please owners of any building or establishment they get called to, but don't give a hoot about managers or renters. This being the South, it's a very southern U.S. thing. I just told the cop to take the kid back to whatever base he's from. They'll deal with him there. To my surprise, the cop is back within 20 minutes and told me that the kid was just going to get a slap on the wrist, based on the reception he received. I wouldn't have that, so I called up one of my friends on the base, a chief master sergeant, call him Chief, an E9 in the Air Force, and the first sergeant of the base at the time. I gave him the whole spiel, and he told me he will take care of it. We kept tabs through the kid's ordeal, where I found out he was put on extra latrine duties on his side of the runway, and then immediately moved over to the other side of the runway to do more of the same for the landing planes and their lavatories. This had gone on for a good 3 months, when his captain, Air Force 03, took notice and put in immediate transfer papers. Seeing as the kid obviously pissed off one of his seniors and was getting hammered for it. As it turned out, all transfer papers crossed the first sergeant's desk for signing off and adjustments, up to and including recommended rerouting. He recommended Nome, Alaska as the kid's next duty post. OP's note, the Nome base hadn't been in use since the mid-1950s by the Air Force. So I'm pretty sure Steve had that one mixed up with one of the other Alaskan bases. But the point was still valid. He called me to tell me what was up with Brother Shoplifter, and I figured that him getting transferred up would be the end of it. Chief, no way. I'm not done with him yet. After another week, the chief called me and told me what was done. The conversation went roughly like this. Nome's receptionist, Nome Air Force Base. This is Airman, redacted, speaking. You're on an unsecured line. How may I help you? Sir or ma'am? Chief. Hi, this is Chief Master Sergeant, redacted, First Sergeant at Charleston Air Force Base. I would like to speak with my equivalent there on your base regarding a personnel transfer. Airman. Wait one. Chief. Sure. 5 minutes later. Hello. This is Technical Sergeant, redacted, speaking. We don't have a first here, but I am the ranking enlisted. What's up? Chief. I have a fresh transfer here going up to Alaska for a change in scenery. You should be seeing his papers come throughout pretty soon, but I need to talk to you regarding the reasons as to why he's being sent out of rotation. Tech. I have a new airman coming up from your neck of the woods. Name of airman Brother Shoplifter, but nothing stating as to why. Chief. That's him. This isn't someone trying to escape their dependa, is it? Chief. No. This is someone who got caught up in a legal issue. The other party declined to pressing charges, so he has no local police record. But I wanted to let you know that he got caught shoplifting at one of our local businesses, a comic store by the name of the Dragon Roost. Tech. Wait a minute. He stole from Steve. //. Once Steve finished telling us this gem, I and my buddies just started howling with laughter. We immediately took the lesson here to heart, in that the military is a very tight-knit community. The Navy nuclear community even more so, as our instructors had told us. I also bought a set of dice that I still use to this day. What happened to the shoplifter up in Alaska? Did he get sent somewhere else, or did he quit or try to get discharged? Oh damn. In a lot of ways that is worse than actual written punishment. Instead of taking his lumps and moving on, he has to deal with this shit for his full career. Oof. On the flip side, no record, so he has that going for him at least. Nice to see a Warhammer fan on this corner of the internet. If I'm ever in Charleston, I'll make sure to stop by and pick up some minis. Do you play any armies? And if so, which ones?
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Eracast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.